Must be expecting some high tides because these berms are pretty serious. How's it going, everybody? I'm Josh KI6NAZ, and I'm going to do a little bit of POTA and maybe a little bit of treasure hunting. There's a sand berm that looks like it was freshly plowed, and maybe that turns up some treasure here at the beach, here at Bolsa Chica State Beach. So I'm going to knock out a quick Parks on the Air activation with my Yaesu 857, a radio that hasn't gotten a lot of love, but I'm putting it back in rotation because I'm going to get it kind of armored up. I'm thinking about putting some side armor on the side of this thing and devote kind of a grab-and-go box, a solar panel, antenna, maybe a battery, so it just stays with me at all times. But got a fun little contraption here. This is a chameleon antenna, but you know, I've talked about the 17-foot whip before. This is the Chameleon SS25, a 25-foot stainless steel whip. I had this tuned for CW because I was trying another radio setup, but I'm going to adjust it a little bit shorter. We're going to test it for single sideband by shortening it. And if you didn't notice, underneath it, that's EMP cloth, yeah. Same thing that everybody's paranoid about, creating little handbags and cell phone bags and all that stuff to wrap their electronics in. Well, it actually works as a really good radial system, and that's what we're using it as today. Because if you can imagine, that's a lot of surface area. The problem with these EMP cloths is that they are like extremely, extremely delicate. Not only that, I feel like you can get a paper cut on one of them. All right, I got about 1.77 across the whole band. It's all flat. So let's get this keyed up into my radio here and give it some juice. And if I remember correctly, this is the HF antenna, the inner one. There's two antenna ports.
All right, thank you very much. 7-3, this is Whiskey 7 Delta Zulu for Parks on the Air.
Park to park, park to park.
All right, park to park, go ahead.
This is Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu in US 3411.
November Alpha Zulu, you're 57 into Washington, US 0824 and 4572, and I copy your Park US 3411. Back to you.
Copy that. You're 5'9" here in the park. Glad you could copy me. I was wondering if my radio was not getting out. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. Have fun activating. 7-3.
7-3, thank you very much. And your audio sounds great up here.
Thank you. Thank you. 73. Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu.
November 6 Kilo Zulu 5-5. Back to the 5 and 5. You're 5 and 9. 59 in Arizona. Copy the 5-9 in Arizona. Have you the logbook 73. That's pretty good. 57 BLX DQ. Parks in the air.
Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. Park to park.
Park station. Go ahead.
This is Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu in US 3411. Have you at a 5'9".
Copy the 5'9" into US 3411. Have you at a 5'5". 5'5" in US 11388.
Copy the park. Thank you so much for the contact. 7-3.
Okay, you as well. Whiskey Alpha 7, Romeo Alpha, Romeo for Kodak. QRZ.
Park to park, park to park.
Who's that, park to park?
This is Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu in Park US 3411, and I copy you at a 5'9" into the park.
Okay, Roger, Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. I copy US 3411. I have you 5959 at US 9152 in the great state of Oregon. QSO?
I copy. Thank you for the contact. 7-3.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Appreciate the park to park. Whiskey Alpha 7, Romeo Alpha, Romeo for KG7, GLX, CQ, Parks in the Air. Kilo 7, Bravo, Kilo Charlie 0, Alpha, Victor.
What did he say his call was? I thought it was
Kilo 7,
56
Bravo,
NLW.
Sierra, Oscar, was that correct?
I hear that right?
Roger. 5'9" into US 11388. 5'9" into Vancouver, Washington. Got you the logbook, 73, 87, GLX, CQ, Parks in the Air. QSO. All right, well, thank you for hunting, and 7-3.
Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. Park to park.
November Alpha Zulu, park to park.
Copy. Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu in US 3411. Have you as a 5'9" into the park.
All right. right, Josh. Well, we've had a contact or two before. I enjoy your videos. You're a 5'9" here into US 0206. And can I get your part number one more time?
Absolutely. Park here is US 3411 3411.
All right, Josh. Well, thank you for hunting me down, and good luck with your activation as well.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have fun activating. 7-3.
7-3, Josh. This is Alpha Alpha 7 Whiskey India. Alpha Alpha 7 Whiskey India. CQ parks on the air.
Kilo India 6 November Alpha Zulu. Park to park.
Okay, I got a Kilo India 6 November Oscar Zulu. You're a 5x7 in the US 4429.
Correction on the call sign, it's November Alpha Zulu into US 3411, park to park. You're a 5'9" here.
Okay, got the US 3411, 5'9", Kilo India 6, November Alpha Zulu. QSL?
Yep, you got it. Thank you for the contact. Thanks for activating. 7-3.
Yep, and thanks for the park to park. I'm going to take a short break here, back in 30 seconds.
All right, that'll do it for me. Tested a couple of radios out. Really just wanted to get a kind of crack on with this new Chameleon whip, and it seems to be doing just fine. Let's take a look at this thing. So I'm using a contractor tripod, or a surveyor's tripod. Got it laid out flat, which is pretty much the best thing you can do with this whip, and it's probably about halfway up, it looks like, maybe a little less than half. Unfortunately, I don't have a good ground connection to this EMP cloth, so I literally just used a piece of wire wrapped off to it. And I was playing 40 meters earlier using this vertical rod and then this coil. And this coil is kind of designed to work with the 17-foot whip. This whip is pretty overkill for it, but it'll do pretty much everything all the way up to 30 meters. Then you have to add the coil if you want to do 40. And so that's why I keep it in my little bag here, my Chameleon kit bag. A couple of months back during Jason Amarillo 2.0's live stream with Gigaparts, they did a Let's Make a Deal segment, and I offered $450, I believe, for a Garrett AT Pro, which Garrett AT Pro is kind of a little bit long in the tooth as far as detectors are concerned. I haven't been in the detector game for nigh a decade or more, but I figured what the heck, and I bought it. So I've got a sand scoop here, and we just happen to be at a beautiful beach with a turned up berm. Let's go see what we can find. So my uncle used to metal detect what I would call professionally, in that he found lots of jewelry. Enough so much that he was able to purchase a Ford F-150 back in the early 2000s. He would come out very early or very late at night, wait till low tide, and then used a special metal detector called a pulse induction metal detector that would work in the very wet sand. These, I think it's VLF, they're not really the best at dealing with wet sand, particularly sand here in Southern California that's heavy in iron. But it's great on the sandy stuff. So I'm going to, I don't know, maybe I'll go down to the wet sand and see how we do, but let's just start out here and get used to this detector, because this is the first time I'm swinging it. Well, we got a piece of foil. Great. won't belabor the the detecting. Let's start heading back. I have found that while you can sometimes get stuff at the beach, the best times I've ever had are actually at campsites. So the playgrounds at campsites, around the swing sets. Whoa. Oh. You see it? Of course. Couldn't be my first attempt with this detector without finding a pull tab. I realize at my older age that metal detecting is kind of like fishing, is kind of like ham radio, in the sense that you set out to do it, and you buy gear, and you get good at it, you research it, and then you go out there, and it's kind of like the lottery. You're hoping for a fish, you're hoping to get some coins or jewelry, you're hoping to make lots of cool DX contacts. It's all very much the same concept if you think about it. And yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a metal detectorist, but I definitely did. 10 years ago, I found a bunch of jewelry, all kinds of fun stuff. Not planning on diverting my channel at all, but thought it would be fun to have one. Make a quick couple of points on metal detectors in case someone is interested. And remember, this is like old school. This is me not doing detectoring in quite a long time. So technology is probably advanced, but let me just give you my thoughts, because I've had probably 4 or 5 metal detectors in my time. And I'll tell you what, it didn't really matter how much I spent on them with the fancy discrimination and all that stuff, like it's gonna beep and tell you that's a quarter. It doesn't really know that much. And the thing that you got to keep in mind is gold jewelry will look like foil occasionally. It'll be oriented weird in the ground, and so if you discriminate out things like foil, you could be discriminating out a necklace, or likely a necklace, or like a bracelet. So keep that in mind. I always treated them like beep and dig machines is what I would call them, what a lot of people call them. You use it to find out where you think it's at by pinpointing, and that's just sweep left and right, and then sweep forward and back. X marks the spot, that's where you dig. It's nice sometimes if it gives you an idea, like quarters are pretty, can be pretty confident. Dimes can be pretty confident, but then you just dig it, right? And the goal for me always was finding silver coins. That was my big deal that I always wanted to do. Given that I was the most interested in finding like silver coins, silver standard stuff before we got off of that, or old copper quarters, right? Or sorry, old copper pennies, silver quarters, silver dimes, that kind of thing. The thing to keep in mind, and here's an interesting thought, right? If you're on the East Coast, like in a historic area, those land places can be protected from detectorists, but it can be really cool. And so if you end up getting a detector and you live in one of those areas, you might be surprised what you can find, because there's some really cool relics like buttons and belt buckles and all really fun stuff like that from colonial times, Civil War, etc. So I encourage you to check it out if you're interested. It can get really expensive though, and generally the cheap ones, like sub $200, are not worth it. It's kind of like 3D printers. It's kind of like amateur radio. If you live in a gold country, there are special detectors designed for gold. If you live by the beach and you want to do beach detecting, there's special detectors designed for that as well. There isn't like an all-in-one for detectors. You kind of have, and well, I take that back. There are all-in-ones, and guess what, guys? Just like amateur radio, they're generally good, but they don't specialize. And because they're not specialized, they don't do as well, right, at any one thing. So you want a beep and dig coin machine, a universal one like a Garrett AT Pro is probably fine, but you could probably find them at a pretty good deal now they're a little bit older. If you're really serious about it, I think Mine Lab is still like numero uno. Anyway, that's me rambling. I'm wrapping up the show here. Maybe at the next PODI we'll pick a location that might be a little bit better for the treasure. I'm Josh KI6NAZ. Thanks so much for watching. 73.